It's time for a little comedy, a little content, and a lot of conversation. It's the Geno Jones Show, exclusively right here on YouTube. Now here's your host, Geno Jones.
Hey, what's happening, everybody? The Geno Jones Show. I'm just laughing because if you guys only knew what goes on when the camera's not on, when I'm about to go on camera, it's always chaos. The enemy's always busy. So it is a Tuesday, right? It's the day. It's Wednesday. Man, this week, short week. It's a Working Divas Wednesday. See what I tell you? The enemy is busy. So I come to you live. My normal start days and times are Monday through Friday. Monday was Labor Day, of course, so there was no live show. However, the Geno Jones Show is always available 24/7 this year because it's a leap year, 366 and a half days, every day, regardless, right here on the Geno Jones Show YouTube channel. Please tell everybody to subscribe to the channel, subscribe and share. Shout out to all my subscribers down from day one, like my mother, and all my new subscribers. Thank you, and everybody else. So spread the word. Tell everybody to subscribe, share. They can rip some of the video or screen grab it, screenshot it, whatever you want to call it. A like, binge watch all my back episodes, and please leave your comments. Leave your comments in the comment section right here on my YouTube channel. And also, or I should say also, I can see the English teachers out saying, Geno, that's bad grammar. It's no and also. Also, if you're watching me live right now, I have a live chat. As a matter of fact, let me click a button real quick. And if you're watching and if you got a question, you want to have a conversation with me, you want to come for me, feel free. But if you come for me and I don't send for you, I'm going to send you back where you came from. And I'm going to do it with a smile, unless you just are just bat shit crazy and just really say or do something that's just, that'll basically get you banned. But I digress. We're not going to even bring that energy on camera into the show, unless it's necessary. So I am saying, so let me, so I like to start off, if I can, with like positive stuff. Like today's September 4th, and for the Beehive, this is like what, Easter for you all? Because I know the Beehive, you all like worship this woman. And she is bad. She truly is. She is a goddess, not in the God for not God. In no way comparing her to God, but for her fans, for the Beehive, she is, for some of them, godlike. But she is a goddess, a beautiful woman, one of the most talented performers, period, of all time, of any time. Beyonce Giselle Knowles Carter. So that's her middle name, Giselle. Did you know that? Yes. Beyonce Giselle Knowles Carter. Beyonce 43 today. Y'all getting old. So happy birthday, Queen Bee, Beyonce. Comedian, my man Damon Wayans, 64 today. So it was a movie back in the day called Cooley High. It was shot in Chicago based on there was a real Cooley High. At one time, way back in the day, they made this movie way back in the 70s, shot it in Chicago. It was a great movie. It was a cult classic in our culture and in our community. And the brother who was like one of the lead character, he was a basketball star, and he just tragic ending. I mean, people were crying. Some people still watch Cooley High and still cry at the end, even though they know what's about to happen. And then he went on to do some TV shows. Let me see, what's it? Welcome Back, Kotter. He was in the movie Claudine. These are like movies in the 70s. The TV show Roots. My man Lawrence Hilton Jacobs is 71 today. Happy birthday to you. Speaking of TV actresses, she was a TV star and she did movies. She was in the movie What's Love Got to Do With It. Angela Bassett with her peerless performance of Tina Turner. Even Tina Turner was like, wow, you played me. Like, it was amazing. So this sister was in What's Love Got to Do With It. She was in a movie called Sugar Hill. She was on a TV show back in the day, ER, and news radio, and way back in the late 80s, so Whitney Houston was touring like her first big world tour from 1988 to 1992. This sister, who went on to be an actress, she was the choreographer for the Whitney Houston World Tour. A sister named Candy Alexander. You've seen her, like I said, if you were a fan of ER or news radio, you might remember her character from West Love, Got to Do with It. Candy Alexander is 67, so happy birthday to Beyonce and Damon Wayans and Lawrence Hilton Jacobs and Candy Alexander. All right, now, so I need to go here and shift gears, and because it kind of triggered something that happened back in my birthplace, Chicago, even though it was entirely different, but the senselessness of gun violence. So today you may have heard, you may not have heard, there was another mass shooting in a high school in Georgia, really just outside. So you have 4 people, 2 students, 2 teachers that were killed outside of a high school about 40 miles outside of Atlanta, Georgia, that is. The killer, alleged killer, the killer, was a teenager. Now, then I think about a week or so ago in Chicago, and it was weird because I was just there for the Democratic National Convention, and I actually took public transportation. I wasn't on it at 5:20, 5:30 in the morning, which it doesn't matter because what happened to these people really could have happened at any time. And I've taken this train before, so public transit. Chicago's got a huge public transportation system. The CTA, Chicago Transit Authority. So there's a line called the Blue Line that'll take you from O'Hare. Just a note for those who are watching, if you live in Chicago, if you grew up in Chicago, if you travel a lot, and if you had to fly into or through Chicago, at all costs, if you can avoid O'Hare Airport, fly to Midway. But if you can avoid O'Hare Airport. But anyway, so the Blue Line takes you from O'Hare Airport downtown, and it connects you to like other public transportation, and then it goes on the west side of Chicago. So on the opposite end of the Blue Line in Forest Park, which is a suburb of Chicago, there was some demonic spirit, some just evil, just sinister. I can't think of any other way to describe this person. He shot and he killed 4 people, execution style, in their sleep. People who were probably just tired, had maybe worked all night or were tired, and maybe trying to go to work in the morning and fell asleep on the train, and he shot execution style. He shot 3 of them point blank in the head, and the other person in the stomach, and they died. That was last week in Chicago. And today, we've got another school shooting, 4 people killed. So listen, let me just say this, because apparently the murders today, this teenager had like this assault style, AR-15 style weapon. Why do we need those? I'm just saying. Now, I know there are people who are very close to me who don't agree. It's okay. I just don't. Do we really need for all you white nationalists, with all these guns that you stockpiling and storing up because you're getting ready for the race war? Stop it. Just stop it. Because other people got guns. But the point is, nobody's going to win. And if for those who are preparing for the race war, and then the government, because they're coming, whatever weapons that you own, even if you were in the military, whatever weapons that you think that you own, that you can fight the government with, trust me, and if you were in the military, you should know this, they got weapons that you don't even know about. So how many ever guns you got, I'm just going to tell you what one of my relatives, Master Sergeant, retired Master Sergeant in the Marines. Shout out to Roy Gray, Sonny, that's what we call him. He was like, cuz the United States military will never, because I asked him about, what would have happened, January 6, 2021, when the white nationalists stormed the Capitol. What if they would have literally, like, physically and violently taken over the U.S. Capitol? He's like, cuz you're near something called, a place called a division called the 82nd Airborne, which is, I believe he said, in North Carolina, somewhere in that area. I'm here in Charleston, South Carolina. He said, for their sake, God hoped for their sake that they would have gotten out of that Capitol before the 82nd Airborne Division would have gotten up to the nation's capital and to the U.S. Capitol. So the bottom line is, the United States military will never be outgunned. So you can't buy enough guns. So at some point, really, you have a Second Amendment right, but, with rights comes responsibilities and consequences. It just, and these school shootings, and it's just people not securing their weapons. I mean, it's so much mental health. I could go on, and I'm not going to, so my entire monologue is not going to be on that. It's just, you would think, and I get it, a lot of the politicians, especially the MAGA cult politicians, are really, and some Democrats getting paid, have been getting paid by the gun manufacturers. But I'm going to throw this out there. And listen, it's not an original thought. I know it's been, somebody has thrown it out there. But the one thing about the gun manufacturers that and I don't despise you being in business. You got it right. And people, they buy guns to hunt, and they buy guns for protection. I get all that. Miss me with all that. I get all that. But you know what? It's too damn easy. We talked about Chicago. You just can't walk around with a gun in Chicago. It's not like South Carolina, where you can, like, openly carry a weapon and anybody 18 can just buy like an assault weapon. No, you can't do that in Illinois. But how do so many guns wind up in illegal, stolen guns? Because the states around Illinois, Indiana specifically, Missouri to the south, Iowa to the west, very lax gun laws, and a lot of those illegal weapons, especially because Chicago, the east side of Chicago, and the northwest corner of Indiana, literally, you can walk across the street, like Avenue or whatever it is, east side of Chicago. Literally, you can walk across the street from Chicago, and you cross the street, you're in Indiana, literally, the state of Indiana. So that's been a problem for years. But to the gun manufacturers, okay, sell as many guns as you want, but be careful who you sell them to and who your retailers send them to. Here's my take. Allow victims of gun violence to sue the gun makers. Oh, I bet some stuff would change real quick then. And you want to own 100 guns, but you got to insure them. Just like you have to get insurance for your house or your car. Yeah, you got to get insurance. And they got to have better background checks. And a lot of it is just, it's a human condition. A lot of it is a lack of humanity, empathy, compassion. And there's a significant portion, I know, this mental health. We got a lot of sick people mentally, a lot of hurt people. And you've heard the saying, hurt people hurt other people. Yeah, that's true. Evil. Then you throw in racism and homophobia and sexism and misogyny. and just the demonic spirits walking around. It's a lot. But, you know, the way to get people's attention, if you start digging in their pockets, especially these gun manufacturers, gun makers. I know some folks are probably watching the show, don't agree, think I'm, you know, crazy. Think what you want. But I know one thing, when you start digging in people's pockets, excuse me, when you start digging in people's pockets, you get their attention. And they start doing things differently. And then they make sure that people around them or that work with them or for them start doing stuff differently if they are afraid of being held liably financially. You can go after their wealth and their property and their business and their bank account. They'll start doing stuff differently. But at the end of the day, it shouldn't be up to them. It should be up to us as humans. But that's a whole nother story. But I couldn't, look, this is not a news show, it's an entertainment show, but that's just my commentary. Prayers to the family of the two teachers. Teachers, the most underpaid people on the planet. Teachers who spend more time with your children. Because my youngest daughter just graduated from college. Teachers spend more time with our children than we do in a lot of cases. The most important years of a child's life, at least half of that time, if not more, at least half of that time is spent with a teacher. Look, I love LeBron and Steph Curry. Steph, what do you got? Just $60 million a year. LeBron, 50-something million. My man, Jaylen Brown, sounded what, $300 million contract, or his teammate signed one. That's the way they need to pay teachers, like they pay athletes and folks. Like y'all pay Tom Cruise and Will Smith. What is it now? They're probably getting what, 30, 40 million a year, whatever it is. That's the way you all need to pay teachers. Teachers need to make that kind of money. They really do. Well, we couldn't afford it. Yeah, you can do what you want to do if you wanted to do it. Absolutely, positively. You can give billionaires tax breaks. Speaking of tax breaks, I'm going to talk about something. Shout out to Vice President Kamala Harris. All right, but prayers go out to the family of the teachers, the two teachers and the two students that were killed in the high school just about 40 miles just outside of Georgia, just outside of Atlanta in Georgia. That happened today, unfortunately. So shout out to the NAACP. They are calling for the University of South Carolina, the Gamecocks. That's the name of the mascot. And the Lady Gamecocks, that's Coach Dawn Staley. Lady Gamecocks, national champions of women's college basketball last season. They got another season coming up. Huge fan of Coach Staley. So the NAACP, they are calling for the University of South Carolina to cancel. So some student organization is putting on a roast of Vice President Kamala Harris. Now, this event features as the masters of this roast a dude named Gavin McInnes. He was the founder of the Proud Boys. Need I say any more? The Proud Boys, the group of white nationalists that stormed the Capitol, and this guy named Milo Yiannopoulos. I think that's the way I'm pronouncing his name, but it's close to it. Yiannopoulos. Just openly, just Google Milo Yiannopoulos. Even if you spell it wrong, just get close to Yiannopoulos. It's with a Y, Yiannopoulos. Anyway, racist, sexist, misogynistic, homophobic, transphobic, xenophobic dude. It's really to find him. So you can just Google that dude, Milo Yiannopoulos. So, open racist and misogynist. Full stop. Says some really racist and sexist and misogynistic things, homophobic, transphobic. These are the masters of the roast. So the NAACP, along with other people, are calling for the University of South Carolina, whose football team is majority African Americans, whose basketball team is virtually all black women, including the head coach, Coach Dawn Staley, who could be in the WNBA as the head coach. Hell, the truth is, could be and almost damn near became a head coach in the NBA up in Portland. So to the president, a guy named Michael Amridiris, Amridiris, Amriridis, Amridiris. I think that's the way I haven't heard it pronounced, but that's what it looks like. Michael or Amridiris, or it could be Michael Amridiris, or I believe Amridiris, or Amridiris, whatever. Mr. Amridiris, Mr. Amridiris, President, University of South Carolina, do you value, do you respect, do you even care about all of your black students? I'm not just talking about the athletes playing on a football team or the basketball team, but all of them, really? And you know these dudes, yeah, they got a right, you have a right to free speech, but have you done a background? Gavin McInnes, Milo Yiannopoulos, they've done other events, and they've brought the racist, the violent, racist, white nationalist element to events that they have hosted, been a part of. Do you really want to bring that element on your campus? And knowing these guys are like openly avowed racist and misogynist and sexist, you could do that Google search. Somebody in your office, your assistant, somebody should have did that Google search. Maybe the head of whatever student organization, but does that say a lot about them? But something you need to think about. So you really need to cancel that. And if you don't, that really says a lot. And it should say something to all the black athletes, to all the students, all the black students, and not just the black students. It should say something to the white students and the Hispanic students. It's not on that racist, sexist, misogynistic, white nationalist bullshit. This is what your president, he allowed it. In sports, there's a term, since I was just talking about football, either when things that go good or bad, talking about like the culture of a team. That means just the makeup of a team. The almost like the character, the not just the physical part, but the mental and the spiritual part, the makeup of a team. There's a saying that goes, it's either being coached or condoned by the coach. So if you allow this president, University of South Carolina President Michael Amridiris, because I believe it's Amridiris, if you either you condoning it, so are you coaching it? So are you coaching this organization? But even if you're not, you say, oh, of course I wouldn't, but you condone it, you might as well be. You're doing the same thing. And I would just, if I had a son or a daughter, going to school there, especially playing sports, really? This is what your president thinks of you? Even if I didn't, if I just had a son or daughter going to school there, this is what this dude thinks of you, really? And I'm paying money? Even if you got a scholarship, it's like all money ain't good money. Really? When you know this is what the president, that means he's not really going to protect your students. I mean, your sons or your daughters or your nieces or nephews or your grandchildren. If he allows this organization, and miss me with the fraud, First Amendment free speech. Free speech comes with consequences. It comes with consequences, repercussions, and responsibility. So if you allow two dudes whose history, whose simple Google search talks about their racism and misogyny and sexism and homophobia and xenophobia bring violence, that they've been Just the leader of the Proud Boys stormed the U.S. Capitol. Say less. Say less right there. And if you all do this, Coach Dawn Staley, I hope that there's an NBA team right now that is willing to minimum, because I think Coach Staley is getting like somewhere over $2 million a year, which is great. She should be the highest paid coach on the damn university, because I think the football coach gets more, and the football team ain't won jack. Ain't won no national championship since what? I think 1980? Coach Staley has won 3 in like in a decade. Come on, man. So Coach Staley, and I am rooting for you. I love watching your team play, and I love everything about you. And you probably know more about the president than I do, because he's your boss. But this is not a good look. And if he allows these white nationalists to come up there and do this roast of another black woman, that's sending a signal to me as far as I'm concerned. So I hope there's an NBA team, because I don't know if there's a WNBA franchise. Maybe the Las Vegas Aces, because they got your former player and Becky Hammond. They ain't really playing right. So Asia Wilson, I know she would love to have her former head coach in college be her head coach. Because, man, Dawn Staley coaching the Las Vegas Aces of the WNBA, the women's NBA, it'd be on and popping. I hope that there's a WNBA team, but definitely, I know NBA teams ain't got no excuse. And there's some NBA teams that need I think Dawn Staley will make a great coach. I mean that. A great coach in the NBA. That's how much respect I have for Coach Dawn Staley and how much love I have for her. So shout out to Coach Staley. Somebody screen grab this and send it to Coach Staley. It's no better yet. Somebody screen grab it, cut and paste, snatch out this video, snatch out the last 2 minutes of it, and send it to the president of the University of South Carolina, Michael Amadeus, I believe, Amadeus. If I'm mispronouncing your name, I apologize. But I said what I meant, and I meant what I said, and send it to Coach Staley. Because if you allow these dudes to do this roast of vice president, it ain't got to do with politics, just who they are. And you know, you can't tell. And if you didn't know who they were, I did your background check for you. So you don't even have to do the Google search. I did it for you on camera. For Mr. The roast masters of this roast, Gavin McInnes, founder of the Proud Boys in Milo Yiannopoulos, racist, sexist, misogynist, transphobic, xenophobic asshole. There you go, President Amadeus. So what you gonna do? All right, speaking of Vice President Kamala Harris, I saw her today real quick. Oh, Liz Cheney. So Dick Cheney, a.k.a. Darth Vader, just Google Dick Cheney. And yes, yeah, Mr. Torture and black site, and they had a name for it. They call it torture. It's like some kind of interrogation. But anyway, so Liz Cheney, whose dad, Dick Cheney, was the former vice president for George W. Bush. He was Bush's brain. I mean, the reason we wound up in the Iraq War, not where Osama bin Laden was, how we wound up in Iraq, when the folks that flew the planes into the World Trade Towers and the Pentagon and tried to fly it into the U.S. Capitol, they all had Saudi Arabia passports. That's a whole nother show. But Liz Cheney, who's been like really 10 toes down, criticizing Orange Hitler, a.k.a. Donald Trump, it just announced, like within the last hour or so, she is endorsing and she is going to vote for Kamala Harris. Whoa. And Liz Cheney and Vice President Kamala Harris, if you talk about their policies, are like that. But they believe in democracy, and Liz Cheney's like, look, I'm sure she's like, I don't agree with probably any policy that Vice President Kamala Harris is going to, try to implement as president. But I know she believes in democracy, and she's not this batshit crazy, racist, sexist, orange Hitler. Liz Cheney endorses and says she's going to vote for Vice President Kamala Harris. All right. Hey, listen, everybody watching me, shout out to my mom, my mother, shout out to my #1 fan. She's my executive producer, Mary Dixon. So you still got a couple minutes. Join the conversation in my chat room. If nothing else, if you're watching, from wherever you're watching, just and anytime you're watching me live, my chat room is open where you can talk to me while I'm on camera. Just jump in there and just type in whatever, in the live chat. Say, hey, Geno, this is Karen. I'm watching you up in Detroit. All right? Or I'm Yo-Yo. I'm watching you out in L.A. Mia down in Miami. Wherever you're watching, just jump in there, type it in, let me know where you're watching so I can give you a shout out. All right? Thank you for letting me be a part of your life. As always, God bless each and every one of you, and especially you, God, most of all. Thank you for letting me do the Geno Jones Show live Monday through Friday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 in Chicago, 3:30 p.m. live in Los Angeles. Subscribe, share, screen grab, like, binge watch all my back episodes. Leave your comments in the comment section. Spread the word for me. And shout out to my influencers. Shout out to all the content creators I met at the Democratic National Convention. I'm still looking forward to getting some of you all on the show. I know you've been watching this show, so I appreciate it, and I've been blowing up your inbox with the link to the show. So reach back out to me. So we've got a lot to talk about. Got 62 days, 9 weeks from yesterday, election, the final day of Election Day, because early voting is going to begin this month. Vote by mail, I think, in North Carolina, they start sending the ballots out for the mail-in ballots this Friday in North Carolina. And man, y'all got talking about batshit crazy. This black dude, see, go to show you, told you that whole race thing is made up. It's a made-up system, made-up construct or concept, whatever you want to call it. Mark Robinson, this black dude is, if you can imagine, if Trump was like on freebase cocaine, if Trump was hitting the pipe, he would sound and act like this dude Mark Robinson. Now, I'm not saying that Mark Robinson is hitting the pipe. I'm not saying that at all. I have no proof at all. But the energy that the brother has, it makes you question. It stimulates the the imagination. And if you could imagine what somebody would look like if they was like really just straight up hitting the pipe, the crack pipe, or just on crystal meth or something, or speedball and crack and heroin, you would be like, wow, this dude Mark Robinson, it would probably look like him. I'm just not accusing the man of that, have no proof of it. But, the eyes don't lie. If the imagination could say if somebody that act and sound like that, if I saw them on tape, like they had tape of Marion Barry, former mayor of D.C., smoking crack. If you saw that video, you wouldn't think it was AI. You would be like, I could see that dude, the way he talk and act. Yeah, I could see. I'm not surprised to see this video evidence that we don't have. So I'm just saying. But tell everybody to subscribe to the show. My October is the anniversary month of the show, 4th year anniversary. So I have a goal I want to get 1,000 new subscribers, an additional 1,000, because that'll take me to the next level as a YouTube partner and my media company. I want to get that big club Shay bag. shout out to my man Roland Martin, Black Owned Media. He put up a post. I think he said, "Is it 6 years?" So he started. I thought he was doing a show for 8 years, or I think he was doing it. Okay, he was doing it on TV One, and then he started his own show. He left TV One, I think 6 years ago, because he posted it. So shout out to you. And I saw Roland Martin at the Democratic National Convention. He had a whole booth set up, looked great. I'm gonna have a setup even bigger than that. No shade, but it was the inspiration. So shout out to you, Roland, because just the whole operation was inspiration for me and my media company. Oh, wait till you see. Don't worry. What was it, 28? Oh, it's gonna be on and popping. The Geno Jones Show. We're gonna have a whole pavilion up in that joint, baby. It's gonna be crazy. There and Essence Festival, you name it, all of it. Because we're gonna be taking the Geno Jones Show on the road. But please spread the word. Tell everybody to subscribe. It's free. Can't beat that. So, but we got a lot of special things happening going into year 4. But shout out to Roland Martin. Congratulations, Roland. Year 6, Roland Martin Unfiltered. Listen, it's not competition. We need as much Black-owned media as possible, brother. So, as an athlete, iron sharpens iron. So you don't just have one, these white folks don't just have one network. They got thousands of them. So, we at least need to have hundreds of different Black-owned media companies. Absolutely. Come on, man. Stop playing, y'all. All right, listen, I got to get out of here. The next live edition, see, with Monday being a holiday, tomorrow's going to be, or Thursday, because you might be watching the show Thursday morning. Depending on where you are, if you might be over in Paris somewhere, or Abu Dhabi, or in Tokyo, it's already Thursday. Well, I know it's Thursday. Yeah, it's actually already Thursday. Yeah, Paris is 6 hours ahead of us, so it's already Thursday morning. So the next live edition is going to be Thursday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time here in the United States, 5:30 p.m. Central Time here in the United States, now live in Los Angeles, 3:30 p.m. West Coast Pacific Time, right here in the good old U.S. of A. Thursday morning. But you go back and binge watch any of this episode, screen grab, screenshot. Some of y'all call it screenshot, screen grab, rip some of the video, chop it up, make it go viral, send it to the president of the University of South Carolina, Mr. Michael Amadeus. Screen grab it, send some of it to Coach Dawn Staley. Coach Staley, like I said, absolutely love and respect what you're doing on and off the basketball court. Big fan. Come on the show, because I know somebody that went to the university, knows people around your program or on your staff somewhere, trying to get you. Somebody, please send this to Coach Dawn Staley, because I've been trying to get her on my show for about 3 years now. So, all right, Coach Staley, come on. Somebody just screen grab this, send it to Coach Staley. Let her watch this monologue. I guarantee she'll come on the show. And we don't even have to talk about that, because I could imagine it's got to be a touchy subject. I'm not trying to get you fired, but I am trying to get you hired where you can get even more money. Because I know Chauncey Billups wanted to hire you up in Portland with the Trailblazers, or maybe some of the Aces. I'm not saying they should fire Becky Hammond, but I'm just saying, I think you, the head coach with the Las Vegas Aces, with your girl A'ja Wilson, who by far is the best player in the world, the best women's basketball player on the planet. This year's the WNBA MVP, or the MVP for the WNBA. No shade to Caitlin Clark. Caitlin's probably going to be Rookie of the Year. She's played great, but shout out to Angel Reese. But A'ja Wilson, Stephen A. and ESPN, and all y'all need to talk. Listen, you can do both. Y'all can hype up Caitlin Clark, but you need to hype up A'ja Wilson. Last night, 30 points and 14 rebounds. She had 41 points and said, man, she is like, are you kidding me? Because if Caitlin Clark was putting up the numbers and dominating on both sides of the basketball, offensively and defensively, if A'ja Wilson was white, oh my God. She be LeBron. Where y'all be talking about her? So I'm calling it out. Because I've been in media for 3 decades, so I know how they play the game. I'm just saying. And there's no shade. There's enough room. All these great players that they would be getting, the ratings would have been higher a long time ago had the men who were in these positions of power at these networks and your commentators, with a lot of viewers, had y'all been like super hyping Asia Wilson and a lot of these sisters up like y'all doing Caitlin Clark now. I'm just saying, come on, man. We gonna call bullshit, and that ain't no disrespect. What y'all talking about? Cheryl Swoops? Oh, she racist. And look, I don't know. Basically, Cheryl Swoops don't need me to speak for her, but she's saying there have been great players. Cheryl Swoops alone, Cheryl Miller, Maya Moore, even other dominant white players, Breonna Stewart, Sabrina Ionescu, I guess. If I was Diana Taurasi, yeah, I would be feeling some kind of way. Diana Taurasi was virtually a Caitlin Clark. She just didn't have the shooting range that Caitlin Clark had before. Come on, y'all, stop, man. People are not stupid. So, anyway, that's a whole different show. All right, everybody. I'll see you live Thursday, 6:30 p.m. Because I get on one real quick. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Subscribe and tune in to the next episode of The Geno Jones Show, exclusively right here on YouTube.